What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Generational Sports. Hosting, as always, it's your boy. Got Josh to my right, CJ down below. You know, the guy's been joining us ever since the little transition over here. Always a pleasure to have everybody here. But as I always say, I gotta know how everybody's doing before the show actually begins because I like to, I'm a good guy, a good friend. So I gotta know, Josh, we feeling all right? Monday, February 6th. How we doing? Josh, I got another Funko in today. I got Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory. So
Yeah, I'm doing good. Honestly, I'm glad it's February because like February, March, we got a lot of stuff coming out. That me and Connie love to watch. We got Ant-Man coming out next week, I believe, and then beginning of March we got Mandalorian. So very excited. We're close to all this.
Josh, I'm not even gonna lie. Are you a Harry Potter guy?
Love Harry Potter.
Did you purchase the new Hogwarts Legacy game?
Legacy, yeah.
I have not, but I am going to.
I'm not gonna lie, boys. I finessed the system. I put my Xbox on Australia. I've been playing all day.
Time zone, that's fire. What's your thoughts?
For real?
Oh, listen, I had never seen Harry Potter, not a single moment of it until 2 days ago.
No way.
I swear to God.
How?
I've watched the first three movies.
Him and movies, CJ. Him and
Bro,
movies.
I've watched the first three. I watched the first three now. 1 and 2, boring. Didn't like them. I'm not gonna lie to you. Was not a fan of 1 and 2.
Man said Sorcerer's Stone is boring.
I thought 1 and 2 were not very good. 3, solid.
You got to read the books too, bro. You read the book. You didn't read it, so I know you didn't read the books. And, I mean, you gotta do both.
I'm telling you right now, there's not a chance in hell that I will ever read a book.
Yeah, you just had to be in that. You had to be in that time. You wasn't in that time.
You thought
that was around my time.
Were goated?
You saw what happened? Yeah, I mean that was just a time period, for me, a lot of people, where it was just like that was the book, and then the movies came out, and then you had book clubs about it. It was just integrated in your public education.
My oldest brother, he was heavy into the books too. When those came out, everybody had them.
Everybody had it.
My sister-in-law, big fan.
That's what I'm saying. It was just that type of time period. A special time.
I'm not a reader.
It had everybody reading. It's a lost art right now.
Yeah.
The most I've read is probably Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I swear to God.
You didn't read Percy Jackson? That was the book for us, our age. No. Percy Jackson, you didn't read those?
Gosh, all right, let's see. I've probably read 5 Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. There's a Boy in the Girl's Bathroom.
Ever read Chronicles of Narnia?
Nope. How to Eat Worms, right? Is that what it was called?
How to Eat Fried Worms?
How to Eat Fried Worms. And
that book's fire. That book is fire.
And there was one more book that I read in high school about the Holocaust. I can't remember what it was called. Night, yes.
Yeah, it's a classic.
I've probably read those 8 books in my entire life.
Yeah, Night is, again, it's similar in that category. It's
like I didn't read Of Mice and Men when we were reading it. I just guessed my way through it. I didn't read any of the Shakespeare stuff. I didn't read. I remember I was in advanced English.
That's a short book too. That's not even.
I had to read Scarlet Letter over the summer. I listened to the audiobook instead on ×2 speed the day before school started, and wrote my report on it. Yeah, I just listen. I did not read in school. I'm not that guy, pal.
Yeah, you missed out on a really good book. Of Mice and Men is a really good. The movie was really good.
I watched the movie.
The old school movie. You saw the old school movie?
Yeah, we watched the movie in class.
With the guy that used to be on CSI. I mean Law and Order or CSI.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the movie because it's a couple versions, but yeah, that's the one. That's the best one. That one was sad, man.
Shout out Lenny. Bro.
That's a great book, bro. You should go back and read that.
I'm too busy on the sticks, bro. I gotta be a wizard, bro.
Reading a book, like when it starts getting like tense situations is crazy compared to like watching a show or a movie, because like you're reading as fast as you can to try to find out what's about to happen. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of watching things, anybody watch The Last of Us? Anybody watching that?
I have not.
Yep.
I have not.
CJ, are you going to?
I might take a look at it. I know the game was really good.
See, I've never played the game, so the show was all a surprise to me.
There's this dystopian type games where where you try to make the utopia, but it fails because we realize nobody's perfect, and we do things in order for us to, become perfect, and it doesn't work. And you mess up society, and then you get The Last of Us. That's we love those type of.
No. This
situational
one was
movies.
because of a fungus outbreak.
That's what I mean. Again, it's parallel.
It's the same but different. Same but different.
Right. There you go.
Like we weren't trying.
Josh
It was
is
because
with
the
me.
fungus mutated out in the wild and got into the food.
It's a lot of parallels. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
But I thought, Josh, I'm caught up on The Last of Us. I think it's pretty good so far.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, I played the game back when it came out, but I came out like when we were in junior high, so I don't really remember too much of it. But that they have been doing a lot of like shot for shot scenes, which I do like a lot.
I have heard that.
Yeah,
All right,
I like
listen,
Pedro
everybody.
Pascal is one of the best.
Of course. Shout out Mando. Listen, everybody. For the people watching, this episode might be a little bit different. If you're listening to the pod after we're done, honestly, you won't notice a difference. But to try and get some more content out there, we're going to be messing around, with some pictures and different type of framework on the stream. So don't be alarmed when we're doing that. We're trying it out. Trying to make it easier for some people to edit some clips for us and get us on IG Reels and TikTok and everything like that. So make sure you're following us everywhere. My stuff is basically Anthony Conover everywhere. If not, you can go click my link tree in my Twitter. You'll be able to find it. Josh, you can find his on his Twitter right there, which is, Joe_4. CJ is CJ9_, or, his link tree, as you guys can all see on the stream anyway. But we're going to be testing some things out, doing what we can to try and get more content out there and, make it big in the world, okay? Because that's what everybody's dream is. And we will start now because it's UFC season, everybody. And I'm going to try and, oh yeah, here we go. I'm already messing. Oh, there we go. UFC 284, which will be this Saturday. Listen, we're probably going to focus more on the two championship fights here. You got Rodriguez and Emmett fighting for the 145. You got Islam and Volkanovski. I believe they're going for Islam's title in this one. So that's obviously the big super fight. Some controversy surrounding the fight that they're just not really promoting it enough. And I do tend to agree. I believe Islam said that in one of the press conferences or an interview with somebody. I agree. Like, I really don't think that they have been promoting this fight enough. It's a super fight. If this was, I hate to compare it to boxing because I think the UFC is so much better. I think the product is better. I think the way that they do everything is better. But I will say the promotion for this has been a letdown. And I do kind of wonder if it's just because of all the news that's surrounded everything else. Like, we got Usman and
Edwards.
What was that?
Edwards 3.
Yes, thank you. Usman and Edwards, we got that one coming up. Obviously, Izzy and Pereira got their rematch coming up. John Jones is returning. We're going to get into some McGregor news later on in the show. So there's just been a lot of other stuff happening, and I feel like this card definitely has not gotten that much attention. But there are two title fights on this card. The card looks pretty solid, and I'm excited for this one. Obviously, we'll get into predictions later, but I guess I'll start off. Josh, what do you think is going to happen in this one, huh?
Yeah, I do agree that it was, under promoted. You'd think, pound for pound, it's a battle for that. And double champ, there's only been a few in the UFC that have done it. So you figure they'd get more hype behind this. I guess just maybe because the card as a whole isn't as good as, upcoming ones. Maybe the reason I didn't do it. But I think both of these fights are going to be really good. I think Emmett and Rodriguez are a pretty good matchup. I think that's going to be a really nice fight. Kind of similar styles to what Cater and Emmett were, and that fight went 5 rounds. It was a split decision. Great fight there. But obviously the super fight is what we're all waiting for. And I mean, I know everyone's on Islam because of how easily he handled Oliveira, and it just looked like light work for him. But I mean, Volkanovski's no joke on the ground either. Like 99.9% of other fighters get choked out by Ortega in those 2 submissions that he was locked in. But he fought his way out of those, so I don't think it's going to be, easy for Islam to get him on the ground either. Obviously, we know what Volk is on the feet, so I think it's going to be a great fight. But I got to rock with Volkanovski still.
CJ, what you got for us?
Yeah, I just think this is a big time fight. This is a big time fight for Islam and Volkanovski. This is for the pound for pound and see who's going to be number 1. Right now, Islam beat Charles. Everybody thought Charles was the undisputed lightweight champ, even though he had missed weight by half a pound going up against Gaethje. And he just demolished Charles. And we saw how dominant Charles was during his run. And then you see Volkanovski, his ability to beat Max 3 times, beat a multitude of guys. He's on a win streak. He hasn't lost. What he did to Korean Zombie, dismantled Korean Zombie. He called out the best. He wants to go for the top of the top, and I think it's going to be a good fight. Now Islam has the style to neutralize the things that Volkanovski likes to do, and that's the grappling. Pressure you, because that's what they do. That's what over there they do, aka the Nurmagomedov camp. They pressure you, and then they try to get your back to the cage, and then they shoot. And then once they get that control, then once you feel their strength, it's game over. It's game over. So that's a great style. They don't think you have the power to put them out, so they're just gonna walk you down until you're on your back foot, and then take you down, and then lock your legs, and then control you on the ground, and then put you to sleep or make you tap. That is it's a style that works for them. It's got them multiple championships, and Volkanovski's going to have to find an ability to stop that. He's going to have to be able to move around, try to get it back into the center of the octagon, and just really pick his spots against a guy like Islam. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely a task that if anybody could do it, Alexander definitely has an opportunity to do so. And then you got Emmett and Yair, exciting fighters. You know what Yair has done. You know about his big-time knockouts. Josh Emmett has big-time power. Both of these guys have been right there. They've been right there. They've deserved that opportunity to get an opportunity at the featherweight title. And regardless what happens between what happens in the main event, those guys are going to have an opportunity to get some pay-per-view points. Whoever wins comes out of that. So that's a good opportunity for them to get some more money for them, for those fighters. And it's an exciting fight. I don't see it going the distance. I definitely don't see it going the distance between those two guys. So I don't mean I agree, because Dana comes out and says he forgets Islam's name. Come on, bro. That's like one of your champions in your division, in your company. How do you forget Islam's name? That was to me, that was disrespectful. I would take that as disrespect if I was Islam. How you forget my name in one of the most talked about divisions in your company. So that was a little disrespectful. But we'll see what happens, man. It's really up to Islam. Goes up there, dominates. If he's able to dominate Volkanovski, there's no question. And if Volkanovski is able to get that upset, it puts him in a whole different class all the time.
Some other news happening around the UFC world is that Conor McGregor is back. He is back. He's going to be the coach for the upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter. Him and Michael Chandler will both be the coaches. So that is the next big thing that's happening right now. Obviously, listen, I think this is pretty cool. Obviously McGregor is, a superstar. Michael Chandler, I don't think has ever had a boring fight in the UFC. Now, to be honest, and open out there. I have never actually watched a season of The Ultimate Fighter. I have never seen any of it. Like I said, I've kind of gotten into the UFC more recently. I know Conor was the coach at one point leading up to one of his fights. I believe it was the Aldo fight that he was the coach of the Ultimate Fighter. But yeah, I'm excited to see this. I'll probably, watch it just because you want to see what Conor's going to say. You want to see if Chandler can keep up with the verbal, jousting that I'm sure Conor will give him. And then, obviously you're kind of just excited to see him return to the ring. Chandler's already started the trash talk. He says he's going to knock him out in the second round and that he's going to put all the pressure on him and he's not ready. And then of course, you already have Conor saying like, yeah, all right, calm down. We'll see what really happens. So I'm definitely excited for this. Like I said, maybe I'll give the Ultimate Fighter a chance. Obviously there have been some great, fighters that come out of that. There's been champions that come out of it. I just haven't, ever watched it. I know the last season, I believe, was Amanda Nunes and Pena. So I'm excited for this one. Excited to see Conor back. I mean, this has been like the year of the returns. John's back. Conor's going to be back now. And I think that this is just an exciting fight as is, because like I said, I don't think Chandler has had a boring fight yet. And, if Conor was fighting a paper bag, I feel like a lot of people would try and watch that fight as it is. So I'm excited to see this one. I hope, and it's kind of tough because I like Michael Chandler. I think it's very fun, but obviously, McGregor is the guy. So I don't know. I don't really know who needs the win more. I guess you would say Chandler needs the win more, in a way, because he's still not up and coming in his career, but he still has, more of a career in my mind, at least, ahead of him. Conor's obviously on the back nine. I don't think he's on the back nine because of skill or anything. I think it's just because, listen, the dude's worth a lot of money now. He sold his whiskey company. He's got all the commercials. He's making money doing this, doing that. Why get punched in the face and kicked in the head anymore? So I don't know how many fights Conor has left in him. So which is why I would say Chandler needs the fight a little bit more because, this gets him right back into maybe not being contender beating Conor, but, it would obviously be a big boost for him. So I think he needs it just that tiny little bit more. I think I've seen CJ shake his head a couple of times here. So I'm kind of interested, CJ. What do you think about this? Huh? What do you think about the whole Ultimate Fighter situation? Who do you think needs this fight more, huh?
I think Conor needs this fight more because what does he want to do with his MMA career? I mean, do you want to just be kind of just easy cash for guys? Be like, oh, fight me so I can get a comp payday and you just beat up Conor for bread? Or does he want to start winning again and, add another chapter to his legacy? Took some time off, battled through injuries, now comes back in contention and try to be a champion. Which one are we going to get? We don't know. Fought Poirier twice. Poirier knocked him out the first time. Second time he dominated him, and then he broke his leg. So we have no idea what Conor McGregor we're going to get. So I think this is big for Conor because this last win was Cowboy, right? Cerrone, 2020, January. That was 3 years ago. I remember I was in a cab trying to watch that fight on my phone. And then I was like, yo, I got the fight on my phone. And he just, like 40 seconds, he just put Cowboy out. I was like, wow. I was trying to get home to see it on the big screen. I was like, nah, I have to see it on my phone. And I looked at my phone, 40 seconds in, put Cowboy out. I was like, wow. That was the last time he got to win. 3 years ago. So it's a lot of, I think it's a lot of pressure on Conor to get this W. Michael Chandler's game opponent. He just went up against Poirier, a guy you just lost to twice. He went up against Charles. He went up against Ferguson, and he went up against Hooker. Oh, he went up against top guys. So if Conor's able to get this win, one more win after that, maybe Poirier again. I mean, that's probably to me that's the only other guy I see. I mean, maybe Gaethje, maybe Charles. I think Charles, the grappling game. Charles should call him out immediately if Conor wins. So it's going to be an interesting fight. I know for Chandler, he could wrestle, but he'd rather stand up and trade. That's his style. That's what he likes to do. As we see in all his fights. Now he can rock you, and he can also get rocked. So and we know Conor has that left hand. So if he's able to connect with that left hand, we'll see his distance. This is going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a tough fight, and I think somebody's going to get finished.
Josh, what do you think about everything going on here? Actually, CJ, I guess I got another question for you, because we talk about the legacy thing, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I buy into it, but I just I feel like Conor's legacy is so set that not a lot of things could really. I mean, I guess another loss is like, damn, like, you know, he ended his career this way and losing. You know, maybe he got out too late. You know, you see that with some older fighters, but it's not. I don't even think it's an old thing. And I don't know. Maybe it is just giving the excuse of like, I just view it as he doesn't take it seriously anymore. And I think he still comes back to do it because he does love fighting. I think obviously, you know, this is what he grew up doing. You know, this is what gave him everything that he is now. So I think he comes back and does it mostly for the love of the game, not to really prove anything. And I don't think it's ever, you know, like you said, you know, come back and be the guy that people beat up for money. I don't think he looks at it that way. And obviously, you know, I wouldn't imagine him to. No fighter obviously does. They all have the utmost confidence that they're going to win every time they're out there. But it's just like, I don't know how much losing, no matter he does, like affects his legacy. Well, first double champ, you know, really brought the UFC to a whole different level with, you know, the way he talked, the way he acted, you know, the things he did outside of it, and obviously after his career. So I don't know, like the legacy thing, I feel like is so set in stone that to this point, yeah, does it make it look like, oh, okay, maybe you should have stopped before? But I don't know how much it actually hurts it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's accomplished a lot in the UFC for sure. No doubt about it. If you've been following UFC for a decade plus, you saw his rise, and it was a meteoric rise for sure. And he brought a lot of new faces to the sport. He really did. But we're talking about present day now, and again, you know, he is the draw. He is still one of the biggest draws in the company. But if he's continuing to lose, guys on the lower rankings that are lower than him are going to look at him and be like, yo, fight me. Not only will it put them in a better spot from a ranking standpoint, they'll also be able to get more compensation than they'll ever get against any other opponent.
Don't you think Conor has the power to be like, you're too low for me, I don't care about you anyway?
Yeah, he picked Chandler. He definitely picked Chandler. No, there's no doubt about that. But still, what I'm saying is, okay, so if he loses against Chandler, then what? Who's he going to fight in that division? Who's he going to fight in the division? You just said you don't think he's going to fight guys lower than him. So who's he going to fight then?
Yeah, but I think the higher up people will forever still call him out. I mean, because like you said, the lower people are going to look at him for money. I think the higher people look at him for money too. Money is money, no matter if it's, you know, the number 1 calling him out or the number, you know, 25 calling him out. I'm sure everybody would love to fight him just because they know it's going to be a bigger draw. They're going to get more money in their pocket. So would it surprise me if all of a sudden, you know, Gaethje wanted to fight, or, you know, if like you said, Charles wants to fight him or anything? Like, none of that would surprise me, just because even if we, you know, and this is obviously, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? You know, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, even if we know 100% of the fact, like if you could see into the future that Charles is going to beat him, whatever, like you still do it because it's such a draw that, like, Conor's always going to make you money. It's just that Conor's always going to make you money. So, like, why would Charles, even though he'd be like, I could, you know, fight the number 2 guy right here and get right back into title contention, or maybe I take, you know, Conor, who's obviously lower ranked, and then maybe I would have to fight somebody after him again before I could get another title shot because I'm going to make so much money doing that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a possibility. Those are the possibilities. But I'm just saying now, this fight right here is reportedly going to be at 170, so it's not even going to be at 155, the weight that they normally fight at. Conor last fought at 170 against Donald Cerrone. Before that, when he went up against Nate, so he's comfortable in that weight class now, having been in there over the last few years. Chandler, in the most recent interviews, just talked about how he said he doesn't have to cut as much weight now being older. So he's going to be in his healthiest form. This is going to be a big fight. Now, will this fight at 170 affect their status at 155? You would assume so, right? Even though it's different weight classes, but unless that next fight for one of those guys is, I mean, you could do Conor. Say Conor doesn't care about 155 anymore. He could just do fun fights, him versus Masvidal. Fun fight. That's a fight you could do, regardless of what their records are. You can make that fight happen. Everybody's going to sit down and watch that fight. So it's
Conor
really just
and Colby sells out the whole thing. Imagine that.
So Conor and Colby. I think again, Conor would pick favorable matchups like standing up kickboxers. Yeah. You know, again, him and Masvidal. They're you know what they're doing. They're not doing it. They're standing up. So, well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in pre-fight and post-fight for both of these fighters. And I just like this is going to be an Ultimate Fighter. You should really check out some of those Ultimate Fighter previous seasons as well, man. Those are classics. Nate Diaz is in there. Tony Ferguson won the whole thing. Usman won the whole thing. Usman's brother just recently was an Ultimate Fighter. So check those out. This one should be good. I don't know. We don't know. We still don't know a lot of the details, weight classes and whatnot, but Chandler versus McGregor, I mean, it's going to be a classic.
Josh, just real quick before we move on, what are your thoughts on all of this? Got to get you in here, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a favorable matchup for really either guy because we don't know what Conor's really going to look like. Chandler, he's lately in his fights just been putting on a show, really. He's been doing a lot of fan service, just eating punches and giving them back. But I think Conor, he could have taken Tony Ferguson. He could have gone for someone like he did when he fought Cerrone on his comeback. But I think this is a fight where he's taking on a big challenge. Chandler's no joke. He's a legit fighter, and it's just – but, I mean, his last knockout, that front kick to Tony Ferguson, I mean, he can put people's lights out too. So this fight, I think, is going to be obviously a great one to watch. Ultimate Fighter, I've never watched a full season, but obviously I've seen a lot of clips on YouTube about it and all the funny things that happen there. Obviously, Chael Sonnen and forget who he was fighting with that one time. But I think it's going to be a great fight. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great fight, but I mean, we'll see.
Well, all righty then.
That's a classic. Yeah, that's a classic. I Can't Let You Get Close. That's a classic.
Oh, that is a classic.
Nate Diaz just complaining about everybody running around their underwear. Like he's
bugging out, trying to fight.
Let me bang, bro. Just let me bang. So many great moments on the Ultimate Fighter.
So many great moments, bro.
He said, I can't let you get close, bro.
Yo, they had real, and then they didn't even, they said, and Chael got that W too. Mm-hmm. Chael got that. That was a good fight, but Chael got that W.
Well, all right. As you can see here on the screen, we will move on to what the big news in the NBA is, and that would be that Kyrie Irving got traded to the Mavericks over the, I believe it was on Friday. It was reported by Shams that he wanted to be traded. Obviously, things moved pretty quickly that now. I believe yesterday was that he got traded. The trade officially became official today, actually, because apparently the Nets were looking for a third team to try and get some more things. I believe they got a 2029 first-round pick, a couple second-round picks. They got Dinwiddie back. And who was the other? You guys know the other person? It was
Markieff Morris and
Markieff Morris went to the Mavs as well, and then there was somebody that went back to the Nets.
Dorian
Finney-Smith.
Yep. All right, there you go. That's the full trade details. And listen, I'm going to say this, and I'll say this. I would not want Kyrie Irving anywhere near my team ever. I don't even know if it works for the Mavs. I don't know if it's going to work, for the Nets with what they got in return. I just would never want Kyrie near my team, no matter what the circumstances. Is he uber talented? Obviously. One of the best ball handlers in NBA history, can score. We saw what he did in the finals, against the Warriors in that 3-1 comeback. But if it's, the social justice stuff where, it was too much for him to play, I guess, listen, everybody else in the NBA played, and listen, it is your own personal thing. I guess I do understand that, but just what does that mean? Kyrie just cares more than everybody that he couldn't play. There was a vaccine situation where he wasn't allowed to play. Now, once again, that's a personal choice, so you can't really get on him too much for that, I guess. But there's that as well. And then obviously there was this season with the anti-Semitic movie that he posted, and then they tried to make him they want him to apologize. He basically says he's not going to. Then he gets suspended, and all of a sudden he apologizes again. I just would not want Kyrie Irving anywhere near my team. I think it's too much of a headache. He's ruined basically every team he's been on. I mean, the Cavs, they didn't win anything. LeBron comes back, they finally win. Then he wants out because he wants to be the alpha male. He goes to Boston, realizes that he doesn't want to be the alpha male anymore, even after saying he was going to re-sign to a bunch of season ticket holders over there in Boston. He drags KD over to the Nets. I believe KD originally wanted to go to the Knicks, but he says, no, let's go to the Nets. The first thing they basically say is that they don't even need a coach when Steve Nash was hired because what they can do whatever they want. That's cool. They trade for James Harden, which just takes the foundation of the team the Nets build and ruins it. Now, is that a Kyrie thing? Obviously not. But, then you learn that James Harden wants out. And a lot of the reasoning was that he just doesn't know what's happening with Kyrie. And, KD was hurt a little bit at the time. So now Harden gets traded. And then this season, when they're both playing together, they're playing good. Kyrie's having a great year, whatever. All of a sudden, he wants to be traded because they want to put some things in his contract. Listen, Kyrie, how could a team not want to put incentives in your contract or stipulations in your contract? Everywhere you go, something happens. He played 55% of the games when his entire 3 years with the Nets. The big three with Harden, Kyrie, and KD played 16 games together. KD and Kyrie played 72 total games together the entire time with the Nets. I don't listen. As Michael K says, talent is the great deodorant. If you were good at something and you have an extraordinary amount of talent, people will look past basically everything you do, and that's why Kyrie keeps getting chances. That's why AB got a lot of chances before teams finally said no to him. But I don't know. I'm good. I'm good on Kyrie being on my team. Love the talent. Can't do the person. I don't know if he's going to be there. Is something else going to come up where all of a sudden he needs to take a step away, or he feels for this or he feels for that, or something. I don't know. I just couldn't do it. I'm interested to see what happens as well. Kyrie's pretty ball dominant. Luka's pretty ball dominant. I would assume that Luka's still going to take control of the ball. Kyrie learned how to play a little bit more off ball when he was with LeBron and with Harden. When they were with the Nets. So I would assume Luka's still going to do that. But I'm interested to see how, they integrate everything into each other. But that's my take on it, at least. I'm interested to see what happens. But if I'm anybody, I'm kind of good on Kyrie. Josh, I guess I'm interested to hear what you think about this because it's a lot. Kyrie's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Kyrie, the past, ever since he's left Cleveland, has had a lot of problems, I guess. But I think it really just depends on the team and how they're structured. If you want Kyrie or not, like if you're the Mavs and you have this star in Luka, and you just realize you need another scorer around him, you need something to make it to where they do have to worry about guarding someone else on the court. You absolutely take Kyrie. If you're the Lakers, you go after Kyrie. If you're the Clippers, you go after Kyrie. I think it just depends the structure of the team because. I mean, yeah, he's always causing problems in the media or whatever, but he's, putting up 30 and 8 on a regular basis. So you always want that on your team if you're trying to compete for a championship. And I mean, the Nets had no leverage in this deal. He was going to walk in free agency. So I think they got actually a decent return in bringing Dinwiddie back and Finney Smith. I mean, we'll have to see how the domino effect falls with KD and if he wants out, but if he decides to stay, that's some more quality role players around him. But I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move by Dallas. You didn't have to give up an insane amount to get a guy with the talent of Kyrie Irving, even if it is, 30 regular season games and a short-lived playoff run. I mean, it's worth a shot. and if he enjoys it there and likes playing with Luka, you get a chance to have him for longer. I do understand not wanting him, long term because he'll promise he'll be there and never want to leave, and then a couple weeks later he's demanding a trade. But that's the risk you run with, like you said, Connie. The talent's a great deodorant. It's when he's that good, and I mean Kyrie is one of the best scorers the game's ever seen, arguably the best handles the league's ever seen. It's hard to say no to a talent like that, and I mean I guess we'll have to see how it works out. I'm excited to see him alongside Luka. I mean nobody else is touching the ball though. I mean Luka was already highest usage rate in the league, and now you add Kyrie with that. It's going to be interesting to see what other moves they make. I don't think Mark Cuban's done making moves before this Thursday, so we'll see. But I like the move.
CJ, I'm obviously interested to see what you have to say about this, as you are the host of your brand new show there, CJ. I saw a little name change there.
Yeah, MNC Hoops. Catch us again on Sundays, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Data Views.
CJ, while you're talking about data reviews and everything like that, just a quick reminder. Make sure you guys like and sub, all right? Like and sub the data reviews. Make sure you run the sub count up. Make sure you run the interactions up with all the posts, everything going on. Hit the like button, notification bell. When everybody's going live. We got everything. We got sports. We got breaking news. I mean, what don't we do over here? But make sure you subscribe, obviously. And CJ, sorry, I had to do that, but the floor is yours once again.
No, you're good, man. I just think from the moment during the off season, when everything transpired with the trade scenario with KD, with Kyrie, the writing was on the wall then. Situation occurred with the documentary that was posted on Instagram that transpired. So, and the stipulations that Joe Tsai wanted Kyrie to go through in order to come back in the league, and then they figured out that was too excessive. Then he apologized. It just didn't seem like a really functional working relationship between player, employee, or employer. And I think it was just time to make a move. It just was. I mean, realistically, there would have had to been some real change in their relationship. But I kind of put a stand on their relationship from that point on. And they got rid of Kyrie. I think for him going to Dallas, it's a good move. It's a good move. They contend in the West. And obviously, Luka Doncic is going to continue to play at a high level. My only thing is the scheme. Well, if they play the 5-out offense, yeah, it works. But there's a shelf life on that scheme. As we've seen with the Rockets in 2018, pretty much the Harden's prime, running that 5-out offense, you could put up a lot of stats, you could put up a lot of numbers, but you're not going to win a championship. You have to have another way to win a championship, another scheme, another style. Well, will they be able to find that? We'll see. Jason Kidd's a high IQ basketball. He was a high IQ basketball player. He's doing a pretty good job as a coach. We'll see if he's able to find a counter to that, because anybody should know you can't win a championship just playing ISO. So they have to change that. Are they better than the Nuggets? I don't think it puts them over the Nuggets. They need to get a wing during the trade deadline or the waiver wire, because you lose Dorian Finney-Smith, the 3-and-D guy. You lose Dinwiddie, a guy that could put the ball in the basket. He's a bucket, obviously not to the level of Kyrie. So that's a trade-off that you'll live with. But they do need another wing that could defend in that starting lineup, because now you have Luka Doncic and Kyrie in your starting five. They're not the best perimeter defenders, so you need a couple more wings around those guys to be able to lock up.
It's definitely going to be interesting, to say the least. Obviously, there was, like we all said, a lot going on, with the movie and the vax, and even just injuries. I will say it's not all Kyrie's fault, that they didn't play together that much. Like I said, I believe it was 72 games total out of the 3 years that KD and Kyrie played together. Obviously, year one, KD was rehabbing his Achilles injury. Kyrie, rolled an ankle here. KD got hurt there. And, it was definitely a mess situation. But, I mean, you want to talk about one of the all-time disappointments. Like, we talk about, the whole KD, Kyrie, or KD, Westbrook and Harden thing, obviously with the Thunder, which hurts me and Josh's soul. But and being a what if, there has to be a giant what if with KD, Kyrie, and Harden. I mean, if that could have just ended up working, it could have been absolutely wonderful, because it did seem to me that they did start to buy in. It was kind of, Harden was going to be the one to take the ball up and facilitate, and he could get the shot, and then obviously he could pass to KD or Kyrie, and I do think it really did have a chance of working, but Harden. Listen, honestly,
KD got hurt.
I might give. KD gets hurt. But I might give a little credit to Harden here. Anyway, he might have just seen the writing on the wall and been like, listen, I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know if Kyrie's bought in. I don't know what KD – because, listen, to be fair also, KD wanted to be traded this summer. I mean, he wanted to get out of there.
They were trying to trade both of them.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted out, and then KD was like, all right, you know what? Never mind. It was more like the Nets can't get 85 draft picks, which is what they wanted in exchange. Which, hey, name your price, basically. So it really was a bad situation overall, but it is kind of just a shame that we never saw the full power of the big three, first of all, and then even after that, just KD and Kyrie itself. And then I will still go back one more time and just wonder if they didn't make that Harden trade. Because, I mean, you would have had KD, Kyrie, Jared Allen, Dinwiddie. Obviously, Joe Harris is still there, not really the same player anymore, which is random because he's a shooter and he just kind of disappeared. But I do wonder what that team would have looked like if they just never tried and get Harden in the first place. But I also don't really blame the Nets, because what GM is really like, oh, we have KD and Kyrie right now. We can trade for a Harden and have one of the potential biggest and best big threes of all time. Like, how do you say no to that? I mean, you kind of can't. So obviously they pulled the trigger. It did not work, and it's obviously probably going to set them back a little bit. But Josh, I'll probably leave this to you and CJ a little bit more, and CJ will be back, obviously. But the trade deadline's coming up, and I'm just kind of wondering some names that you're throwing out there, thinking that could get traded, and what we might see ahead of the trade deadline. What teams need players? What teams are just bad and don't need their players anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I think every team is going to be shopping around with just a lot of the names out there. Obviously, Jay Crowder is the one that gets mentioned the most because he's not even playing for Phoenix. He's already got one foot out the door. The question is just what team is going to go get him. And it's a questionable move for a team because they're not going to give him away for free, and you don't know what type of shape Jay Crowder is in right now. And, being in this big second half of the season, if you're a contender, you don't want to trade for a guy who's, not in basketball shape, and it's going to take him the rest of the regular season to get there. But Jay Crowder,
Josh, let me ask you a question here because I'm stupid. And like I said, I haven't paid attention to basketball much in the past. Jay Crowder's just not playing? I thought he was hurt.
No, he hasn't played. He's just not playing. He doesn't want to be there. He wants out.
Interesting. See, I did not know this information. That is very interesting to me. Okay.
I don't think he's playing at all.
Because I saw it. I don't know if you guys saw one of the potential trades for Kyrie was that apparently the Suns offered CP3 and Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're good. We're Gucci on that one.
Yeah, I thought that would be nobody's doing that trade.
Also, just one singular point here that I absolutely love. I'm an annoying person. Some would say I'm an asshole. And I'm okay with that. But I absolutely love the fact that Joe Asai said, I'm not trading Kyrie to the Lakers and I'm not giving you what you want. Because we all know that's realistically what they wanted. And that level of pettiness is something that is just near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love it. The fact that he just said, I kind of know where you want to go, and I refuse to let that happen, kind of made my soul happy for the day. I'm not going to lie. But
as long as it helps the team. I mean, if you're just out here not making trades, and if that deal was better than the Mavericks deal. Now, I think the Mavericks deal was solid. 2 second-round picks, first-round pick, 2 wings that are, under 30, I believe. So we have something to work with. I think that was a better deal. I think the Lakers were offering Westbrook, Reeves, and 27, 29 first round pick. So, however you want to slice that, I think Dallas probably had a better. Again, you got to take wings. You need wings in you need wings in the NBA. You need versatile wings that could space the floor and defend. You need those. Doesn't matter what team you're on. If you're on a middle of the road team or if you're on a contending team. So I think they ended up getting a good deal, but you don't want to have that mindset. Oh, we're not going to make this deal and send him there because we don't want to make him happy. It worked out this time, but that I don't think that's necessarily the right way to go every time.
Oh no.
And this is what I mean.
No, but the fact that it was possible to work out and still be petty, like I said, made my heart happy.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying. There was a disconnect between both parties, and that occurred once that documentary happened. Once that thing was posted and how everything transpired with that, that's when you start to see the relationship between Cy and Irving be different.
Well, Josh, I'll get back to you here because we both kind of interrupted you. Me mainly because that's what I do. The trade deadline. I know you were going in on that. Obviously, CJ, I want to hear your thoughts on it as well, and I'm kind of going to lay out because this is your area of expertise, guys. See, I'm not very smart.
Well, CJ brought up a great point. With the league the way it is now, with a lot of positionless basketball, you need good wings that can at least defend well enough and can stretch the floor. I think a guy that is going to be very sought after is Bojan Bogdanovic. I think he's a guy that he's putting up great numbers. Obviously, in Detroit with Cade being out and being such a young team, he's kind of been the leader of that. And I think he's playing some of the best basketball of his career. I don't think it'll be easy to get him. I think that's why they signed him. I think that's why they paid him, so that they could get a good package in return, playing kind of a long game there with his contract. I think contenders are going to go after him. I think John Collins, too, is a name that should be watched, too. There's trade deadline, too. I mean, it's just a weird situation over there. They brought in DeJounte. It took a while for him and Trey to find their way, and John Collins just looks a little lost out there at times with that lineup with Onyeka getting better too. He just kind of has been in a weird spot there for a while. So I think some teams could really use his 3-and-D and athleticism as well. A guy that hasn't really been talked about a lot, but I do think a team could really use off the bench, Kobe White. I don't expect the Bulls to keep that whole roster together for too much longer. Just hasn't worked out exactly how they wanted it when they made the splash trade for Vooch. So I think Kobe White could be a really nice piece off the bench for some teams. Kyle Lowry, too. I think there's a real possibility he could get moved. Gabe Vincent's been the best point guard for them this season so far. Kyle Lowry's kind of been not working out how they wanted it either. And obviously Utah has a lot of pieces that teams would want to, like Malik Beasley, Kelly Olynyk. So I think it's more of teams just where the moves they made the past year or in the offseason that haven't worked out for them. I think those are going to be the teams that make the most moves. I don't expect any more huge trades unless somebody else wants out. I mean, maybe DeAndre Ayton gets moved, but I don't see that happening the deadline. I think that's more of an off-season move to move him. But, I think there's going to be some key role players that will be moved at this trade deadline.
CJ, what you got for us? Thoughts on that? Any more names to add?
Yeah, those are some good names. I'm definitely going to be looking to see. Bogdanovic is a good one because he can put the ball on the floor as well. He's a guy that could create his own shot. He's done it everywhere he's been with the Pacers, Jazz, and we're seeing him do it again, even on a rebuilding, tanking type team in Detroit. So I think he's going to be a player that one of these contenders are definitely could possibly give up a first round pick or two to try to acquire him. So I think he's on a deal that's friendly. So he could be a piece that could definitely change how we view a team, depending on where he lands in the conference. OG Anunoby, everybody just assumes that the Raptors just want to trade all their wings and just trade everybody and keep Scotty and start over. That seems to be the assumption. But I'm saying, depending on what the Nets do, if the Nets trade KD, then the Nets go down. So then that means another team is gonna usurp into that top 6. And because of that, another team that's in that 11-12 range will go into that 7 to 10. And then once you have a shot, you have a shot.
You think there's you think there's a chance that the Nets trade KD? What do you think? What would you put a percentage on there?
I'm gonna say 65%.
Ooh, oh wow, okay, high.
I was gonna go like 47 because I don't know. I think he likes Brooklyn. I think he loves being in Brooklyn.
I mean, we say that, but then he asked for a trade in the offseason.
I think that was just because the whole Steve Nash and Sean Marks situation. And now they've kind of been listening to what KD wanted since. Obviously, Kyrie's a whole different story, but ever since then, they've kind of been doing.
Our boy in here.
They were playing really well too. Playing really, really well when KD was healthy and Kyrie was going. They were in a groove for a long time, and obviously KD gets hurt and all kind of falls apart for a while. But I think bringing Dinwiddie back, Dorian Finney-Smith, I think they got a team over there. But does he want another star with him? Is really the question. Does he want to play with another all-star caliber player? Because I don't think Ben Simmons is going to get back to that. But Claxton's been great too, so. It's not like the team over there is dead, so I'd still go below 50 for right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like, and I agree. I agree with those points. But then I also just look at, he did ask for the trade. Now we don't know what his mindset is. He hasn't said anything. Usually, guy likes to tweet out stuff. He has not tweeted out anything during this time, so we don't know what's on his mental. That's why I say 65% because Ben, he's like a fifth option. He's not he's not a second or third, fourth, because you can't depend on him because he can't close games because of his poor free throw shooting. So you can't be a top 3 option if you can't make free throws. At least how I'm building my team.
I agree.
At least how I'm building my team, right? If you cannot be a top 3 option on my team, if you cannot shoot free throws.
That's how I bet on college basketball. If they don't shoot free throws well, I do not bet on them.
That's what, because it's just, I don't want to have to come down where the game is close and your opposing team is just hacking my guy up and he's going 1 for 2, 0 for 2. We're good. We need straight 85 and up for my team. So yeah, Ben is he's a nice little facilitator, 6'10" facilitator. He does little things here and there, and I saw a report too that KD has not been impressed.
How could you? Is he even averaging double-digit points?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just mentally he's just not there because again, he doesn't want to get fouled because he doesn't want to shoot those free throws. That's why he doesn't want to slash to the basket.
Robbery with the way he's doing the Nets.
Instead of him shooting perimeter shots, okay, if you don't want to go through, if you don't want to slash, okay, work on your outside game because you're not going to sag off you regardless. They already think you can't shoot, so just work on your perimeter game if you don't want to go to the free throw line or slash to the basket. But he's just a different breed. So that's just what that is. So I don't know what Brooklyn wants to do, and I think KD is going to weigh out his options. If I'm Sean Marks, I'm
coming home. If he's going anywhere, he's coming home.
Well, I mean, listen, Giddey's they're going to ask for a lot.
Him and Shea together, bro, and Chet comes back, we need it. We can give them the 85 draft picks they wanted too.
They're gonna want Giddey, bro, and SGA.
No,
Can't do it, boss. I'll give you about 5 first-round draft picks.
Like, I'm just in a different direction right now.
No. I got you with 5.
No, not with KD. With KD, we're
very, SGA and KD.
I just want SGA and J-Dub. Like, everyone else is expendable for KD.
Yeah. You're going to have Dort, about 7 first-round draft picks that we have. And some other random players. I just gotta keep Chet, SGA.
See if we win the lottery too.
Stop it, Victor. See if we win the lottery, then you get Victor. Then I'm trading Chet and all the first round picks. If we don't get KD now, you do it in the offseason.
No, I'm keeping Chet.
Bro, I cannot bro, that's 3 very skinny men defending the rim.
I want to see it. I want to see it.
Chet, Victor, and if we got KD somehow,
we're keeping Poku too. Poku can run the 2. We got 4 skinny guys.
No, that's a starting 5 that versatile.
Length, bro. That length is insane. Yeah. That'd be crazy.
Well, let's move on one more time to our not final topic, but our final overall thing, I guess you should say. We're going to go into the NFL world now. Obviously, we still got to break down the Super Bowl. Haven't touched on that yet. That'll be played this Sunday, as we all know. But let's start it out with the Pro Bowl, actually. So they changed it up once again. There were kind of like the Pro Bowl games, which was on a Thursday. Then they had the Pro Bowl games again on Sunday, I want to say it was, or was it Saturday? I'm not exactly sure. Where they play? No, it was Sunday. Where they had a flag football game. They played 3 flag football games, actually. And there were kind of games in between them. And here's what I'll say. I like the direction that they're going. One, because I like the games as a whole. Like I think the Pro Bowl games is pretty fun. Like the best catch, that can be cool if maybe if more people get involved, they can do some other tricks and things like that. It just kind of turns into the NFL version of the slam dunk contest. Probably not as good, but it could be maybe if you get some crazy things to happen. The water balloon catch thing, that was stupid. That one I watched and I had no idea what the point of that was. That was stupid. I did like the one where they tried to catch as many punts as they could. I always find that interesting just because I could probably only catch 2. Let's see. The little gauntlet race that they did where Myles Garrett actually dislocated a toe. So, watch out. They'll probably ban it next season. But that was fun. You see the athletic ability of these people are unbelievable. I mean, they're giant human beings that are like 300 pounds of pure muscle, even though they look fat.
Brian Burns was moving on that.
Brian Burns was moving. I mean, he's jumping over those walls like it was nothing. So, I mean, they got to crash through the walls and they jump over a wall and have to climb underneath. And then, they tag the next person. They do this. So the race was fun. Best catch is fun. I like the punt thing. Listen, the kick-tack-toe, which really turned into like long snapper toe because the punter and the kickers for the AFC and the NFC, I don't think made one single thing. So it was all up to the long snappers. I thought that was pretty interesting. I liked that one. Let's see. What am I missing here? Oh, and then the thing with the linemen where they had to pull the weights off and then they pull the wall. I like that too. Listen, I like all of these little Pro Bowl games. And here is my solution to what you do with the actual game. Listen, the flag football was fun. I kind of enjoyed it. The actual game where they were wearing pads and everything turned into flag football anyway, so this wasn't really any different. But it was fun. They shrunk the field down. They made the 2-point conversions different and everything. But I saw something over the weekend, and I hope it's true, that there were discussions around the NFL. I don't think it's in the league office. I don't even know. I think it was with the owners. Maybe it was just some people at the Pro Bowl games who work in the NFL were throwing it around as a joke, ha-ha, wink, wink, that they play the toilet bowl. Just play all those Pro Bowl games that we just talked about, and then the 2 worst teams play for the number 1 overall pick. I'm telling you, it would be so much better if you could have the 2 worst teams. And listen, that sounds weird. Like, why would I want to watch the 2 worst teams? Because it means something. Games always are better when they mean something. And the first overall pick, especially in a year, if your quarterback is trash, and then you can go get a quarterback without first overall pick, I'm going to tell you what, that coaching staff and those players, maybe not the quarterback, I guess, but they're going to play their asses off because they're trying to make the team better. You have the Pro Bowl games Thursday, Saturday, and then have the game for the number 1 overall pick be played on Sunday. And I'm telling you, it would be amazing. CJ, you're laughing at me. You're laughing. But I want to hear why, because I think this is brilliant.
So you want to have, during the Pro Bowl, the 2 worst teams play for the number 1 pick?
Absolutely.
Who haven't played football in 3 weeks, by the way, because the Pro Bowl is a while after their last game.
Don't care. I promise you I don't care.
Yeah, listen, I appreciate the creativity, but I just don't see that work. I don't think, to me, that's a slap in the face of the Pro Bowl, because the Pro Bowl is for like the best players. So why would you have the two worst teams play for the number one pick?
Because it's more entertaining. And what is the NFL? An entertainment business. It's a sport,
Yeah,
but it's all about the entertainment.
Nobody's gonna really want to watch that though.
CJ, come on. Nobody's gonna want. People watch the worst games as it is anyway.
I mean, it kind of happened a little bit this year. People tuned into the end of that Texans game to see who was getting the number one overall pick. So it kind of happened. I think people would watch it, but I think there would be so many other things involved with that, like that the NFL would not even entertain the opportunity of that. I would love to see it. Like if we saw the Bears and Texans play, like Justin Fields just running around for one more game to see who gets the number one overall pick. Like it'd be fun to see, but I think there would be so many other things that come along with that it would never even be in the realm of possibility for the NFL to do.
I can guarantee you, if they played it, guarantee you that they play that game, it's getting at least 25 million viewers, at minimum.
I mean, that's a lot. I don't know about that many. I don't know about that many.
It's what the NFL does. Listen, I know it's not a championship.
There have to be some good players in it, though. Like,
I really don't. How well did Thursday Night Football do? And Monday Night Football, and even some of the Sunday night games. Half of those games were terrible, and
they were supposed to be good. We didn't know Denver was going to suck that bad.
Okay, but halfway through the season, we knew Denver was terrible, and they were still on Sunday night, and we still watched every single snap of it because it's football, and we crave it like addicts.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's just not what the Pro Bowl is about. That's it just doesn't tie in. It'd be different if it tied in, but it doesn't tie in. Like, what does the two worst teams playing for the number one pick have to do with the Pro Bowl?
Bro? It would have to be. It
doesn't even connect. Like there's no connection
with Pro Bowl.
Like, what story do you tell with that?
Who cares about a story? It's another game.
It's about a story. What you mean?
It's another.
That's the whole point of the game.
What do you mean? The story is who gets the number one pick. That is the story.
But why are you doing that at the Pro Bowl?
Because it makes the whole event. It makes the whole event. It's like the topper to the event. It's like the main event.
They have to rename the whole weekend. I think it would have to be completely rebranded if it's going to be okay. We're going to have all the great players here doing all this fun stuff.
Yeah, to watch the two worst teams play for the number one.
Like after you see all these,
you're gonna have all the top guys in the league. Watch
exactly.
The two worst teams
all the top players in the league. They get their shine. They get their shine throughout the week, playing in their little mini games, and then we have a game at the end. That it's better than flag football. Or
maybe just like a coin flip at the very end.
I'll just take what they're doing right now, bro. And also the fact that you're playing. So now you're asking these guys not only to play a regular season, right? Listen to what you're saying right now. Not only are you asking these guys to play a full regular 18-week season, right? Now 2 weeks after that said season, or 3 weeks, now you want them to play another game.
It's a lot
for the number one pick? Stop.
What, they can't play another game?
Or what do they do? Because at the end of the season for them, contracts are up, coaches are fired.
Honestly, you want those players to go out there and play for the number one pick, and they might not even be on the team next year.
Yeah, like the contracts are up at that point. Like it's over.
Contracts are void.
Daniel Jones played the entire season this year, not knowing if he's going to be on the Giants next year.
But that's different. He's got that's a regular season.
That's what I'm saying. That's during the regular season.
Yeah,
the game means something.
Knowing anything.
It means something, but it doesn't connect to where it's at.
It's a football game at a football event. That's the connection.
No, but that's not the Pro Bowl is to celebrate the best in the league. And you
so have the Pro Bowl Thursday and Saturday, play the games like that, and then Sunday you just play it. You play a game and you don't call it the Pro Bowl.
I think the Toilet Bowl is a good idea, but it's got to be a different time or something. Like
what's the point? What's the point in having the two worst teams play for the number one pick?
Well, first of all, you're going to make more money. The NFL's all about money. Second of all, it would
that just adds to more just like speculation and just.
What if one team wins like one game and the other one wins
the regular season are gonna purposely try to lose even more so they could get to that top 2 seed of having 2 of the worst records in the league to get
Losing we're in, baby.
Yeah. So you're promoting losing, bro. That's a bad look for the NFL. You're promoting losing, and then you're doing it on the stage where all the best players are.
That doesn't make any sense. No, that doesn't.
That's what you just said.
No. How is it promoting losing? Losing is promoted now anyway. If you finish the worst,
this is amplifying it though. This is giving losing a platform.
Saying. Like that's you're pretty much saying. Like,
what do you mean the platform is there anyway?
Yeah, lose on purpose so you can get.
You're rewarding them. You're rewarding them even more.
The number 1 pick.
You're rewarding
lose on purpose so you can get a showcase for the number 1 pick.
Do you hear what you're saying though? No, because that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean rewarding them for losing? They already get rewarded for losing. If you lose the most, you automatically get the number 1 pick. You don't have to do anything for it besides lose. The Texans or the Bears have the number 1 pick this year because they lost the most. So now, if they lost the most and the Texans lost the second most, now they would have to play a game. So if you lost the most, technically you would be punished if you then lose the game again because now you don't get the first pick. You get the second pick. It would be more of a punishment to the team that loses the most. You get rewarded now anyway. It's not like it's a lottery system in the NBA where
you're giving it even more reason why it shouldn't happen.
The first pick.
You're giving even more reason why it shouldn't happen. It already works out. Like the picks are already decided.
Why are you playing a
like
game
it's already done. Like there's no point for it.
Yeah, if you have the worst record, you get the number 1 pick. Why would you want to play a game? That's what I'm saying. Like now, what you're doing is the you're promoting. What you're doing when you do that is you're promoting the 2 worst teams in the league. Now teams that are bad, they're gonna be like, oh, let's try to get the top 2 so we could get that number 1 pick showcase at the Pro Bowl, bro. What? No way, bro. And no way.
I don't think it's any different than them losing throughout the year and having the number 1 pick anyway. Either way, you're a regular
season.
loser.
It goes throughout the season. Like you don't
we didn't know. I said, if I'm a player, I'm not playing in that game, bro.
Yeah, hell no.
I don't even know if I'm gonna be on the team in 2 months. I don't know if I'm gonna be on the team in 2 months. Like, why would I play in that game?
I can guarantee you the minute they said you won't get paid, they say, okay, never mind, I'll play.
Not if it's a game that isn't in the regular season. What am I playing for the franchise benefit when I don't know if I'm going to be there? Like,
I need all my money fully guaranteed if I am going to play.
Yeah, well, guess what? You better start playing a different sport then.
I need all my money fully guaranteed if I'm going to play in a number 1 pick showcase.
You better play a different sport.
If it's not guaranteed, I'm not playing. Find somebody else.
None of the money you get now in the NFL is guaranteed, so you shouldn't be playing in the NFL.
It's not a showcase for the best pick for the number 1 pick in the league when you're playing in the regular season, bro. That's not what that is.
It's a full-time job in the regular season.
You're playing in the regular season. You're not playing showcases for the number 1 pick. You're just playing to see if you win. It's not the same thing. Like it's not situationally. It's not the same thing, bro. It's not. You're comparing a regular season to a showcase event.
So why does the NBA have the play-in? What's the point of that then? Why didn't they
that's for the play? That's to go to the playoffs. That's not to
why they had it fine before. It was the top 8 seeds. Why they had to mess with it?
That's completely different than
but it's incentivizing winning though. Let's try to get to this top 6. If you don't get to this top 6, then
okay, and exactly
tournament style.
Exactly. So if you win, now you get the number 1 overall pick. That promotes win. You want to win that game now, don't you? Would you rather have 1 or 2?
The owners do. The owners want to win that.
But the play-in is promoting winning, though. It's incentivizing these guys playing in the regular season. That's the point of that. Play in the regular season so you can get a good seed. You can't load manage and do all that type of stuff.
You can't load manage.
But I'm saying that's the point of the play-in. That's why they implemented it, to make these guys play in the regular season.
And guess what? It hasn't done a damn thing for them. Everybody load manages now anyway.
I mean, you have a problem with the play-in?
Not really, but I don't have a problem with what we were doing now anyway.
Okay, so you have a problem with what we're doing right now, but it didn't. But it didn't. The worst record,
it didn't stop people from load managing. Load managing is all over the league. You just had LeBron sit against the Nets and then play against the Knicks because it was a back-to-back. Oh, his ankle hurts that one night.
He's 38. He's 38. He got weak knees.
Oh, now he's got weak
I'm just
knees.
saying.
Kawhi's been load managing for 5 years now.
He's got bad knees. That's a
And guess what? How's that load management doing? Nothing for him because he misses 85 games a year anyway.
It's not the same thing because, again, what does that win or loss mean for the player? It just means everything for the team.
It's not like every single player on the team isn't going to be there the next year.
But why am I putting my body on the line for the number 1 pick?
Because if you're on the team, it could change the path of the team.
No.
But not everyone's a young core piece of a team. There's 53 dudes out there.
And you'll always find 53 to play, I'll tell you that.
That's what I'm saying. I want my bread fully guaranteed in that game. Straight up. If it's not fully guaranteed, I'm not playing that game.
Yeah, your money is fully guaranteed in the game.
Maybe like a 7-on-7 for the first pick.
Because the regular season, the goal is to win. Now, if we're not talented enough to win, okay, then our record will speak for what it is, and then that'll decide where we'll get drafted. What do we need an extra game for? What is that going to tell us? What is that going to tell us that we already don't?
I don't think it has to really tell you anything. It's just better.
So what's the point of having the game?
Because it would be more entertaining and better to watch than what we're doing now with flag football and what it was before, which was 2-hand touch with pads on.
I'd rather just do the flag thing, bro. For what? I
mean, maybe make a week 19 for that game.
Because it's about.
That's fine. I'm not saying that it has to be played during Pro Bowl week, but I mean, or even then, move the Pro Bowl up. Give the teams a bye, and then you play the game, and then later on you
want them to play the Pro Bowl in the regular season.
Yeah, at the end of the year,
All-Star break. All-Star break.
At the end of the season, you give them a bye week, and then you play whatever game.
Nah, I mean, listen, bro. I'm cool with getting rid of the game. These guys make too. It's a meaningless game. You're gonna go 110. You're gonna go 110% for what?
Well, the NFL messed it up in the first place, moving it out of Hawaii. That was the only reason people ever went to that thing anyway. And then they moved out of Hawaii, and now nobody cares about it.
Like, I understand the OGs. They're like, yeah, I played in the game, and yeah, that's I get that. You also weren't making the type of money that these guys were making. It's a different time. It's a different time. So I don't see the point. I don't see the point of the game, of playing the game. It doesn't mean anything. These guys get hurt. Say you're playing in the Pro Bowl and one of your star guys, God forbid, has an injury for the year. That guy's out for the entire season, and he's not going to play until the next year. All because he played in the Pro Bowl. So this is what I'm saying, bro. It's bad enough you just went through 18 weeks of torture. Now you're going to go through you want to take a week off and then go 110% again for what?
Help your team. That's the whole point.
No,
that's the whole point of that's the whole point of playing the sports. Team sport. You got to help your team. Anyway, Pro Bowl games, they were something. I like some of them. Some of them I can live with that. Like I said, that whole water balloon toss thing back and forth, probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my entire life. I guess it was, whole soft hands, like who can do it, whatever. But all right, we'll move on because we got I don't know if you guys heard about it. There's this Super Bowl thing that's going to happen this weekend, and there's a lot of people talking about it. So I guess we should talk about it as well. We got the Super Bowl. The Eagles are facing off with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think it's going to be one hell of a game. I really, really do. I guess we're going to save our true predictions, for the end. I want to give everybody their chance to give their prediction, their score, their MVP. I guess we'll kind of do that at the end. But, just keys to the game. I guess I'll go through it. CJ and Josh, we can all go through it our individual selves. Obviously, if you guys want to jump in at any point, just let me know. I can pull you guys up as well. But listen, I think the whole thing is the boring stuff that nobody cares about. I think it's the trenches. We give all the attention to Mahomes, rightfully so, and Kelsey, rightfully so, and Hurts, and what AJ Brown can do, and Smith, and how good their Eagles running game has been, and everything like that. But I don't think that's the true story. I think the game is really won in the trenches, and I think it's where the Eagles have an advantage. I think the Eagles have 78 overall sacks this season. They're a few away from breaking the all-time record from regular season and postseason that was set by the Bears, I believe it was. So obviously their defensive line is unbelievable. The Bengals' defensive line was pretty good too, but the Chiefs' offensive line probably hasn't seen anything like the Eagles' offensive line, I would imagine. The Eagles' offensive line, easily the best one in the league. I believe they have 3 Pro Bowlers on it. I think another person on their line was also an alternate for the Pro Bowl. So their offensive line is just unbelievable. Obviously, we know about Kelsey. We know about Lane Johnson, but Dickerson was a Pro Bowler. Mailata is unbelievable as well. And then, I mean, even on the outside, I think there's kind of an advantage as well because I believe due to an injury in the Bengal game, and I don't know if he's going to be back, but I believe it was Snead, there were 3 rookies out there for the Chiefs. And they did play very, very well. I will say that against a very talented offense. Obviously, we know what the Bengals can do with Chase and Boyd and Higgins, but I believe Higgins got hurt in that game, so they didn't have their full complement. But it's going to be a big challenge if it's all rookies out there, and gave the Eagles extra time, obviously, to scheme up because of the break between the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So I think you're going to need a lot of that Mahomes-Kelsey connection. I think you're going to need some, I think you're going to need some magic out of Andy Reid with some of his play calling. You're going to need some turnovers if you're the Chiefs as well. But I think that it's going to be a really good game. I really do. And the trenches really might just win the whole thing. I know it's kind of the cliche thing to say, but I really do think it's true because, I mean, the Eagles are very good on both sides. And, obviously Chris Jones is very good. Frank Clark is still there as well. So, the Chiefs obviously have some players on the defensive side. Their linebacking core has played pretty solid this year as well. But it should be a hell of a game. And I think that's kind of my key. I want to see what happens in the trenches, but I want to pass it over to CJ, of course, because I'm kind of curious what you're thinking about this whole game as well, obviously.
It's gonna come. I'm right there with you, man. You sound like me. It's gonna come down to those guys up front. Eagles have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. What they've been able to do and their ability to get to the quarterback, that's going to be the key for them. They're going to have to be able to disrupt Patrick Mahomes. We know he has the ankle injury. I'm sure he's doing treatment in these last 2 weeks or so. So it won't be the same type of it won't hurt as much as it did a few weeks ago because he's had treatment. He's had time to play on it and kind of get used to it. But those guys are still going to try to get after him. They're going to try to get after him, man, and they're able to send 4. Now, if you're able to send 4, you could drop 7, and then you're able to double some guys, shade over, and do things from a scheme standpoint, from a secondary standpoint, and that's why they've been so dominant as a defense. So it's going to be a great chess match between the defensive coordinators, between the coordinators and Andy Reid. Offensively, what the Eagles have to do is they have to continue to commit to running the football. Run the football, slow the game down, slow, methodical, have long drives, make sure you score. Have to make sure you score. You can't settle for field goals. You have to get 7. You have to get 7. Getting 7 is essential. Jalen Hurts is going to have to use his legs. Gainwell, Sanders, Scott, they got Goddard at tight end. They have the weapons. They have the weapons to make it happen. That offensive line is really good. Mailata, Lane Johnson, Kelsey. So they're a well-ran team. They're a well-ran team. They have a strong roster from position by position. This is one of the most complete teams in the NFL. So I'm expecting them to have a really good performance in the Super Bowl against Kansas City. Kansas City's defense has stepped up as well. They did a really good job against Cincinnati. Was able to get 2 turnovers off of Burrow in that AFC Conference Championship game. So they're going to be formidable. They're going to have a lot to prove. Chris Jones, Clark, Snead, those guys are going to want to play and make some plays also. So it's going to be a chess match. Andy Reid going up against his former team, took Philadelphia to the Super Bowl, multiple NFC Conference Championship games. Now he's going up against his former team in the Super Bowl. It's definitely going to be fun. Nick Sirianni. No one thought he would be here. Everybody questioned this move. Everybody didn't think it'd be a smart move. A lot of people are saying he's just here for the ride. This is Howie Roseman's team. What he's doing is just going out there and just not messing it up. We're going to see. We're going to see how he plays against one of the best play callers of all time in Andy Reid. And this will be a special thing for both quarterbacks, for Patrick Mahomes. What it will put him at from a legacy standpoint, as already being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but also it will put him where he's at in terms of being one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history with another Super Bowl win. Most likely will be another Super Bowl MVP with a regular season MVP. I believe he's going to win it this year. But on the flip side for Jalen Hurts, it completely puts him in a different category as a quarterback. One, his ability to be a dual threat guy, something that we've seen guys here and there. Cam try to do it. Lamar try to get close. Vic try to get close. Cunningham, those guys. But we haven't really seen a true dual threat quarterback come in there and win a Super Bowl. He has an opportunity to do that. His story, where he's been at, ups and downs he's been through. For him to get a Super Bowl, for him to win a Super Bowl MVP, it puts him in the categories for one of these top young quarterbacks and eliminates a lot of the narratives that's on him right now. So it's going to be a great game. I can't wait.
Josh, give me your thoughts on the big game, obviously, this Sunday. We're on a halftime, too. Can't wait. Banger after banger, I assume.
I agree with you guys that, the trenches are going to be a big part. I don't think it's going to be, the deciding factor in the game because, we got two guys that are very mobile, can evade sacks, have been doing it all year. Obviously, these defenses are both playing, at the top of their game right now. And so are the offensive lines. So I think it's really just going to come down to, for Kansas City, really to make plays. Their secondary is depleted, and obviously A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith, they're going to need those rookies to step up and make plays. And on the offensive side of the ball, we saw late last game, Valdez-Scantling, he was huge for the Chiefs. He made some amazing catches during those last few drives to help get them the win. So they're going to need some guys to step up this week too. I think it's just going to be, the best against the best in the trenches. Obviously, you probably give the edge to the Eagles with, how, star-studded that offensive line is, and that defensive line to Hassan Reddick is just kind of unblockable lately. And I think Mahomes, he's going to have to move around. He didn't look too immobile this last game with only a week off of that ankle, and now he's going to have 2 off of it. So I don't expect the mobility to be a problem as long as, doesn't take any unnecessary hits. And, Andy Reid, he's going to have to scheme up some good things against this defense to get his guys open. I'm expecting Kelsey to be a big part of it too, unless Philly just figures out what no other team in the NFL has been able to do, which is to completely shut them down. So it's going to be interesting to see what both teams draw up. But I think it's just going to come down to, the secondary for the Chiefs and their receiving group making plays because, Philly's just been kind of, top tier in every position this season, really. So the Chiefs are going to need guys to make plays.
How about we do this? Let's go in reverse order here. So, Josh, I'm going to keep you up there. I need everybody's Super Bowl prediction. I don't mean just a score. No. I want to know what's going to happen, your final score, MVP of the game. I want it all. If you think, a halftime performance is going to be good, I need to know everything here. All right? Give me the NFL script, as Arian Foster said. Give me the script. What's happening?
I know last week we all picked the Eagles. I'm actually flipped to the Chiefs now. I do think this is going to be a huge legacy game for Mahomes. I think he's going to have a hell of a game. Score, I'll go 31-28, Kansas City. I think it's going to be a close one. I think they exchange, possessions. They're probably both going to score first possession, then a couple, 3 and outs and all that. But I think every time one scores, the other will bounce back until the Chiefs wind up with the ball late, which they always find a way to do.
I need an MVP here, bud.
Oh, Mahomes if they win it, though.
Okay. CJ, I give you the floor. I give you the floor, my good sir.
The Philadelphia Eagles, 28-24. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think early in the game, I think both teams probably score, and we were like, okay, let's get it started. And I think throughout the game, second quarter, third quarter, we'll see a couple field goals in there. Defenses will start to figure it out. I just think the Eagles will have one more drive just to keep Mahomes off the field and solidify the win. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to do that, but I think they're gonna be able to run the football successfully. And if they're able to do that, I think they're able to minimize possessions for Mahomes, for Kelsey, for that offense, and get this W. Jalen Hurts, I think Jalen Hurts does a really good job throwing the football, running the football in this game, and I have him win the Super Bowl MVP.
Well, all right. I guess it's just the last one. This is for me. I got the Eagles taking the Super Bowl. I'm going to give them a 30-24 victory. I believe it's going to be a little bit back and forth to start, as you know, Josh and CJ said before. But I think the Eagles defense is going to bear down later in the game. I think they're going to get some big stops. Hassan Reddick, I would assume he has a big game in this one. Rushing the passer, Hal might even try and help stop Travis Kelsey a little bit. I think the run game is going to be very effective for the Eagles, not only because of Miles Sanders and people like Boston Scott and things like that, but because Jalen Hurts is obviously a dual threat quarterback, and the linebacker kind of has to spy him, so it takes him out of place and maybe open some holes for the running backs. Even the passing game, might open some spots over the middle for Goddard. I'm going to go with the Eagles, like I said, 30-24. Give me, man, I kind of want to be a little bit different and not go quarterback. You know what? Give me Reddick as the Super Bowl MVP. I think he makes some big plays, a couple of sacks, maybe a fumble recovery, hell, maybe even an interception. You never know what's going to happen in one of these games. But I got the Eagles 30-24, Hassan Reddick with the MVP, and the Eagles are hoisting number 2 as the city of Philadelphia collectively loses its mind.
I think it's going to be a great game. I think these were the two best teams in each conference. I'm excited. Both teams relatively seem healthy. No major, big time injuries in key positions for both teams. So this should be one of the best ones we've seen in a while.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I mean, I think the Eagles are going to win. I've said it for a while now. Both you guys can back me up. I appreciate it. That I think the Eagles are the only team that can beat them. That can beat the Eagles. They just seemed like a machine all year. Obviously, they had that little bit of a lull. They lost to the Commanders. And then obviously Hurts went out. They lost to the Cowboys. They struggled a little bit even when he did come back. But I think he's had time to nurse his shoulder. Mahomes has had time to nurse the ankle. I really do think this is going to be one of the better, Super Bowls that we've seen, maybe ever. Hopefully, maybe, I guess it can't really be the best game ever unless there's another 28-3 comeback. Just saying. But I'm certainly very, very excited for this one. Last thing, real quick, that I kind of want to go through. CJ had mentioned it before we even had started the show. It wasn't on the list or anything, so I hope I don't put anybody on the spot too much. How about we run down some awards, huh? You know what? I'll put everybody up here as we go through our awards. MVP, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, if you want to give some reasons, obviously feel free. I think I'm just going to shoot through mine. Mahomes wins the MVP. I think it would have went to Hurts if he doesn't get hurt. But you know what? It happened. Mahomes had a good year anyway. Mahomes is going to win the MVP. I think Sirianni should win the Coach of the Year. He's not going to. Brian Daboll will. I know we always tend to give it to the coach that, I feel like the coach who has a very good season never gets it because it's like, oh, you just had a good year, congrats. But I do think he deserves something, obviously with how good Hurts was this year and, how good the team as a whole was. Obviously, coaching had to do something with that, and they were, tied for the best team in the league. But I do think Brian Daboll will get it for what he did with the Giants, and obviously not as much talent. Team, they thought they were going to finish dead last in the division, a 5-6 win team at best, and obviously they end up making the playoffs. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Listen, I think this is another one, and people might get mad at me. I think it should be Aiden Hutchinson, but I think Sauce is going to win. I would pick Aiden Hutchinson. Had a very solid year. I think he had three or four touchdowns, almost double-digit sacks, fumble recovery. I believe he even scored a touchdown, but Sauce is going to win it. And listen, I don't have a problem with it. It's not like I'm sitting here saying whatever, because Sauce was absolutely unbelievable this year as well. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think it might be a pair of Jets. I think Garrett Wilson's going to get it. Would I be so shocked if they gave it to Brock Purdy? No, because they love quarterbacks. And, I mean, Brock Purdy didn't, in my eyes, play enough to win it. I mean, he did play in 6 games in the regular season, I believe. I still don't think he should get it for that little bit of performance. Brees Hall would have won this award, by the way, if he didn't get hurt as well. Defensive Player of the Year. Why? Oh, man. No, wait. Bosa. Bosa has to get Nick Bosa of the 49ers. He was an absolute demon this entire season. What am I missing here? Comeback Player of the Year. Listen, I'm one of the people that think Comeback Player of the Year should be somebody who actually got hurt, which is why I think Geno should be eliminated from the award. Like, I think it's so stupid that, like, oh, because you had a bad year last year and then you're good this year. Like, that's what a most improved player is. And maybe they need to come up with that award because they don't have one in the NFL. But I think it's so stupid that players that are, like, bad the previous year and then good this year get Comeback Player of the Year. What'd you come back from? You were just trash. To McCaffrey. And I believe that's it, right? I'm not going to miss anything.
Yeah, I think you got it. Yeah, offensive player. Yeah,
offense. Ooh. I'll give it to JJ. I'll give it to Mr. Justin Jefferson over there. How about Josh? Josh, you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, mostly the same because I think a lot of them are pretty locked up with the season. Mahomes had, Daboll's going to get it. I even think, maybe Doug Peterson even could deserve it over him with the year they had in Jacksonville. Defensive Player of the Year, I believe preseason I picked Myles Garrett. He had a really nice year too. I thought he was going to win it for a while, but Bosa finished the year just insanely strong, so he's definitely gonna go out there and get that. Offensive Player of the Year, I think there's like a handful of guys that really could be in there. I mean, even Chris Olave had a really nice year in New Orleans with all the quarterbacks they were dealing with, and and Kenneth Walker had a really nice season. Kenny Pickett, when he got the start, was great for Pittsburgh. But I do think Garrett Wilson will get it because he was most consistent throughout the year. So he'll get it. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Sauce is going to win it. I think Hutchinson, maybe deserves it. Even Tariq Woolen, I think, has a great argument to have won that award too, with how, not just how good he played, but how surprising it was that he was as good as he was. Comeback Player of the Year, yeah, I guess give it to CMC. He had a good year. Good for him. Offensive Player of the Year, it's probably going to be Justin Jefferson, but I do think Josh Jacobs deserves some props for his season too. I think he could be getting a couple votes there, but Justin Jefferson put up some insane numbers, so he'll win that.
Yeah, really good picks. Really good pick. MVP, I got Patrick Mahomes. I agree. I think Hurts would have won the award had he stayed healthy towards that stretch right there. Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson. That's just elite what he's been able to do with such a mid quarterback. He's able to put those big time numbers up. Defensive Player of the Year, I got Nick Bosa, the 49ers. It's one of the best defenses in the league. His ability to get to the quarterback, had a great year this year. I got Bosa as Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, you got Kenneth Walker. Yeah, Kenneth Walker's a good one. Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I'll probably say Garrett Wilson as well. Just trying to get some consistent quarterback play over there for the Jets. Maybe that happens.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah. Maybe, I was just about to say maybe that happens in a couple months, so they get some good fortune. If not, back to Zach. But yeah, I got Wilson as my offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year, yeah, two for two. Jets had a hell of a draft, man. Sauce Gardner as my defensive Rookie of the Year, shutting down everybody his length, and he's going up against top guys: Tyreek, Waddle, Diggs. There's no need to talk about whatever New England has. so yeah, he's going up against some of these top guys in the AFC. In the AFC East, and then also in the AFC as well, and seeing great quarterbacks too. So he should flourish in this era because the way these quarterbacks are throwing the football, this is prime. If you're a corner, you better get some hands You better find a way to learn how to catch because you can make a lot of money in this era, man. But nonetheless, yeah, that's what I got for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year, there were a lot of good options. Pete Carroll, Ryan Daboll. I'm gonna say Nick Sirianni, man. I mean, listen, they were 9-7. They went from a wild card team to winning the NFC. That's a pretty big jump. That's a pretty big jump for a team. No one thought that they'd be this good this quickly, even after they acquired AJ Brown in the draft. I don't think people saw them being the top. Well, people expected them to be really good because of what they had on paper. But for them to actually go out there and then really excel and execute it and actually do it, it speaks a lot to who they have as a head coach. So yeah, that's who I have for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think you hit everything, right? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
Oh, come back, Player of the Year.
Oh,
Saquon. Gotta go with Saquon, man.
I'm not mad at that one either.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everybody. That's going to be the show. We touched on everything. UFC coming up, NBA, obviously. We hit on who we think is going to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, cannot wait. And obviously, next week we will be back to break down the Super Bowl, the end of the NFL season. What a sad, sad time it'll be. But hey, don't worry. We'll have some NBA. I got to study up. NBA will obviously get big. We'll have UFC to break down. We'll have the draft to break down, obviously. I'm going to force Josh and CJ to listen to me talk about baseball for a little bit sometimes. Listen, we'll do everything. Don't you guys worry. It's not like we're going anywhere, so don't fret. Like I said, Anthony Conover _ on Twitter. You can find me there. My link tree is there as well, which will take you to everything that I do. And with that, I hand it off to Josh.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Jolin_4. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Generational Sports and Data Views. Make sure you use code Gen Z on Underdog. They actually have a promotion coming up this weekend on February 9th. You pair one pick and you also compare it with just Jalen Hurts over half the passing yard. Free money out there, so don't miss out on that. Use code Gen Z. Double your first deposit and tune in next Monday, 70.
Yes, sir. Linktree C James 9. Everything that I'm working on. MNC Hoops. That's on Sundays, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Data Views YouTube channel. Also on Facebook, on Twitter as well. Another great episode in the books, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate the boys. As always, appreciate the people in the comments. Appreciate anybody that watches. Appreciate anybody that listens. And with all that being said, y'all have a good one. We'll be back next week, all right?
See you guys next week.